welcome to Talking Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my lovely co-pilot, the one, the only, Mr. Dom C. How you doing tonight, Dom?
I'm good, Ryan. It's been a minute. Life has been busy, and Mondays have been kind of shitty on my end. So happy to be here again talking with you, my friend, as always.
I love it. Boys and girls, if you're watching this video either after the stream or in the stream and you want to go to Jets Patriots, I've got 2 tickets to give away. Just leave a ticket emoji in the chat or the comment section down below. I'm going to give away those tickets tomorrow on the Talkin' Jet stream with Matt. Just want to make sure that you guys are able to go. So make sure you leave a ticket down there. Someone's gonna win those as well. But we get to get into a little bit of stuff. I have a hunch. I know what we're going to be talking about. Obviously, Jets get thumped by the Saints yesterday. It impacts the entirety of the draft rankings. Jets slide up 1 pick. We're kind of keeping an eye on the first 3 picks, seeing how that could kind of shake out. We'll get deep into that. But before we hop into the draft side of things, Dom, could you give me a little bit of insight into what you thought of the game yesterday?
Oh, boy. Yeah, listen, I didn't have a good feeling coming into the game all week. The Jets played to the level which I expected them to play. Call it what it is, Rye. Everyone's gonna have their opinion. I think once AG committed to Brady Cook for the rest of the year, once he chose to start Brady Cook, I think in essence, whether it was his decision or whether he was forced. Who knows? I'm not saying one way or another, but once that happened, I think the full-fledged, let's see what we got in the young guys, wins don't matter at this point kind of mentality came into play, and you saw a lot of that yesterday. I mean, forget about the injuries that were plentiful leading into the week. Forget about Garrett being put on the shelf for the rest of the year, but you had no Mason Taylor. You had the defense is a shell of itself as well. Obviously traded Sauce, lost AZ Thomas, lost Jarvis Brownlee Jr. The defense has been bad. The offense has been worse. Brady Cook doesn't understand how to navigate the pocket, causing lots of issues. Yeah, causing lots of issues back there. I think the Jets were rung up for 8 sacks. 2 of them accounted for, or credited to the offensive line. So the pressure to sack rate that Brady Cook has is like astronomical. It's truly somebody who's learning on the fly. And I think the Jets are learning what they have in him, and what they have in him is an undrafted free agent, depth piece quarterback, and probably nothing more. But I think it says a lot to what they're trying to do here by naming him the starter again for New England. When you have a healthy Tyrod Taylor, the cat's out of the bag, Ryan. Everyone's not really pressing too hard to win games. And listen, I don't know. People are going to argue back and say, "Oh yeah, Aaron Glenn wanted to win. That's why he was taking timeouts." No, I think he was just still being a coach. But if he really wanted to win games, I think Tyrod would be in the game. Tyrod and Justin Fields both give you a better chance to win than Brady Cook does.
I completely agree, and I think it's not so much that they're tanking as much as they are going on a quote-unquote evaluation period, because who knows? We know what Justin Fields is. We know what Tyrod Taylor is. Like, neither one of those guys is really going to be a major part of the future. Like, perhaps you bring Tyrod back, on a backup quarterback kind of contract to compete with whoever QB1 is, or just to have a backup. But Brady Cook could at least potentially be a long-term backup. I don't think anyone's delusional to the idea of him being like a long-term starter or anything like that. But
I don't know if he's a long-term backup either. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I agree. I'm using that as like kind of like a gentle, like, I'm not just gonna throw him to the wall, or not throw him to the wall, but just trash him. But there's no part of Brady Cook, whatever he could do the last 2 games, that would impact my starting or backup quarterback plans for next year. He's practice squad at best. I don't know if you saw this prior to us coming on a little bit. Blitz says, seems like DK wants to help us in the draft. So DK Metcalf suspended for 2 games because he had that altercation with the fan in the stands. The Browns and the Steelers play this week. That is really going to be our best shot to leapfrog the Browns when it comes to draft rankings, because they play the Bengals the final week of the season, and unless the Bengals just absolutely don't care, which doesn't seem to be the case considering they put a whooping on the Dolphins. I think next week is probably our best shot. Myles Garrett's still trying to go for the sack record, so trying to take down Rodgers is going to be like a full court press type of a deal. And that would really be super helpful. And then obviously you got the Giants and the Raiders playing this week. Lots of implications that come with that particular game, which I guess I'll pull up here. This is where the Tankathon board currently sits right now. Strength of schedule did a flip on us. So we are at 5. Actually, you know what? I got to redo this. Hold on, let me freshen that up. Okay, that is the updated strength of schedule. Had to click the refresh button. The Giants are now beating us in strength of schedule. They are at a 0.530. The Jets are at a 0.539. So that was a 0.009 swing in 1 week. Literally everything we needed to help us in strength of schedule hurt us, aside from like the Titans winning. The Titans winning, obviously helps. Now, in order to impact that strength of schedule, there's going to be some teams that have to win or lose, some more critical than others. If the teams like the Eagles, the Giants, and the Commanders win, that hurts both the Raiders' strength of schedule and the Giants' strength of schedule. And it double hits the Giants because they play the Eagles, the Commanders twice. Dallas doesn't really matter to us so much, or at least it doesn't impact our rankings. It does hurt the Giants, though. So if the Cowboys win because we played them and because the Raiders played them and the Giants played them, it doesn't really impact Jets Raiders, but it does impact Giants. The Chiefs having a third string quarterback is seemingly awesome because we can have potentially 2 wins from the Raiders. Like maybe the Raiders beat the Giants this week, which based on how both teams played this week, I would say the betting favorite should probably be the Raiders. And then the Chiefs being on their third string quarterback the final week of the season is when the Raiders play them. So they might catch 2 wins. That's kind of what we may need. The Raiders right now sitting at a 0.545. So they're 0.006 away from the Jets. And, if the Chiefs lose each of the next 2 weeks, and, since the second week is the Raider game, that would put the Raiders and Jets at the same win-loss total, and then it comes down to strength of schedule. So it's really critical that this stuff happens, or at least in the best way possible. Patriots, Bills, and Dolphins, more so the Bills and the Dolphins, help us the most because they count as 2 games against us. So if the Bills win, that counts as 2, or actually, sorry, if the Bills lose, Dolphins lose, Patriots lose, those count as 2 additional losses that helps weaken our strength of schedule. The issue is Bills and Patriots are jockeying for position. Dolphins can't really get themselves out of a wet paper bag. Falcons wound up winning yesterday.
A lot of these teams that we need to lose or win, for that matter, play each other, right?
Yes. Yep.
The Browns. Well, I mean the Bengals and.
So the final week of the season almost isn't gonna matter, or at least very minimally, because there's so many division matchups, or they're all division matchups. So you don't get the benefit of those double wins, double losses. That would really swing things, a big way. But I'm sure there's going to be some matchups. It's going to change a little bit. Our strength of schedule, what it is right now, is not what it's going to be at the end of the season. So we'll see. But the Jets are sitting at 4 right now. So what are your thoughts?
They're sitting at 4. That's the truth. My thoughts are, I don't know. I have no idea what to think so far. It's still probably about 2 weeks away from full declarations from collegiate players. So, I think things will be a little bit different or a little bit less angsty, if you will, if both Simpson and Moore declare. And I know Simpson is a guy that has kind of a lot of Jets fans, at least that I've seen or I've read or have soured on. And, he was always the third quarterback, or I shouldn't really say that. he was my fourth quarterback, but my number 2 quarterback decided to go back to school. So by default, he's my third quarterback amongst the 3. And I have a true second round grade on him. I'd be fine if the Jets wanted to target him and trade back up, kind of like the Jackson Dart kind of thing, or trade down with their second pick, get some more capital and kind of hover in around him. Or, maybe they just get lucky and the board falls right and they can sit, at some point, whether they're at 2 or 3, and they can sit pretty and not have to worry about it and take whichever quarterback falls to them.
Of the top 2, you're saying you're talking about like more Mendoza.
Exactly. Mendoza or more, yeah. But I'd be willing to say pretty confidently, Ryan, that they're not leaving this draft without a quarterback, one way or another. Whether they trade up to go get the guy that they want, whether they wait and see how, where they're at 2 or 3 and they wait and see who falls to them, or they're out of the range of those first guys and they make a move for a Simpson later on in round 1. I'd have to say that I'd be pretty confident that they're going to leave this draft for the quarterback. And truth be told, and I'll say this as standing on all 10 toes, I would much rather them use capital this year and get a quarterback than use it next year. The draft, because a lot of people are saying, and maybe you'd sit on this, and I'll ask you. Like, a lot of people are like, there's so much left to do on the team, which I agree. The team's in shambles, but build a team around it and then pop the quarterback in there. Well, like next year, there's probably 8 to 10 players in next year's draft that would be the first player taken in this year's draft. Like the quality of players next year is so much better. So you want to have 3 bites at the apple next year if you can. I would love to see them use what they need to this year and make a play. If they decide that it's more Mendoza and they're in striking range, go get them. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I think my gut feeling right now, as I stand today, and I don't know all the different relationships and stuff about free agency and whatnot, but like, I think I want the Jets to sign Malik Willis in free agency because there's the connection between him and our quarterback coach. I think there's enough there to at least be like kind of optimistic, and then you don't go into the draft ignoring quarterback, but it doesn't make you press as hard. Like that might be the move to eliminate I'm giving up a bunch of picks to go get our guy. Like, let's say the Jets end up in the 3 pick and the Giants are sitting at 1 and we have to leapfrog one team. I think there's a situation where the Jets could say, hey, look, we'll give you both first this year, and that's it. You're going to stay in the top 3. You're going to get you're going to get the best non-quarterback, and we want to come up to 1. Whereas if like we don't have Malik Willis, then we don't have anyone on the roster to kind of at least potentially roll with. Like, I think you can justify it as like, hey, we like all 3 of the quarterbacks, you take it or leave it kind of a thing. Like, how much are the Browns or the Raiders willing to give up as well? Because those are the 3 teams that are just jockeying to get up there, unless, the Rams or like the Cardinals start trying to cook something up to get up higher. I don't know. I'm not like a big Malik Willis guy, but I could see some benefit in signing that, like signing him.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. I was just talking to somebody about Malik Willis. I had made mention to him back in like September, or I'm sorry, like October, like right around Halloween.
I was going to say, I think we brought it up on this show. Probably.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we've talked about him and Tanner and whatnot. Like, all right, you get a guy, I don't know. I'm just so tired. I guess like the Aaron Rodgers and the Justin Fields thing, like, really took a toll on me. Like the whole bridge quarterback thing is very, very difficult for me to comprehend or wrap my head around again. Excuse me. But you get a guy in Malik Willis who, checks the boxes off that AG talks about what he wants, right? A leader, a strong arm, can affect the game with his legs, all that stuff. He has gotten a lot better playing the quarterback position. He was just thrust into the, into the fire way too early, as a 3rd round pick, handed over the reins and asked to learn on the fly. Tennessee wasn't equipped to really, coach or get him ready. He was a guy that, that needed to kind of just needed the Jordan Love treatment, just sit and learn for a few years before you hand it over. And he just wasn't given that opportunity. But, I digress, because he then gets the opportunity to sit and learn behind Jordan Love, with Matt LaFleur. And, the product that he is very serviceable. Like, there's no doubt that he could be a low-end starter. I think he could be a low-end starter in this league, I absolutely do. I don't know if he's got a Sam Darnold resurrection in him, but, could he be what we hoped Justin Fields would be, and that'd be a serviceable bridge to give your young rookie quarterback some time? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and he's a free agent. You don't have to trade for him.
That's the biggest part. And the free agent class is kind of weak, so we're not feeling super great about that right now. Navy Hamster comes in and says, given how weak this year's quarterback class is shaping up to be, do Jets focus on building up the roster this year and go quarterback next year with the 3 first-round picks? Ryan, are we calling in tonight? Yeah, we'll do some call-ins after Dom hops off. Dom, do I have you till 10, or how long I got?
You have me till whenever. You can do call-ins if you want. Want them here? I don't care.
I did not set up a scene to have a third person in there.
Fair enough. So kick me out. Kick me out when you need to.
I'll kick you out closer to 10. So Hamster will go. Cameron, I'm assuming that's who it is. We'll go at 10 o'clock. We'll do a few call-ins. I'll do like a half hour worth of call-ins or so. As far as like the weak quarterback class, Dom sort of touched on it here just a few seconds ago. I agree that Moore and Mendoza are the 2 guys, and I would give up picks to go get Mendoza. I think Mendoza's I would give up picks to get either one, I guess, at this point. But Mendoza's the one I would really feel comfortable with. I feel like he's got the highest floor. Moore.
This draft class, I'm sorry to cut you off. But
that's all right.
I think Moore is going to come out as people really start delving into the class. Like, not the casual, and I'm not saying anyone in the chat, I'm not saying any of you guys are just casuals, but the reality is not everyone is very familiar, in depth with a lot of these players. A lot of people will get to start getting in depth and start, really trending towards like it's draft time now. Not like, some of us sickos who've been doing it since June and July. But this is not a very strong draft class at the top. It's just not, there's, I'd say if there's probably 8, maybe 9 or 10 true first-round grades of the entire class, I'd probably say that's a lot. It's just not a very deep class at the top. It's not very deep at the bottom either. There are some positions that are deeper than others, like the defensive line. Especially the interior, I think is really good. I think the wide receiver position is pretty deep, and I think the cornerbacks and the safeties are have some depth as well. But there's no offensive lineman. There's not really much quarterback depth. And listen, a lot of some people don't like the top 2 options either. There's plenty of people who aren't sold on Mendoza or aren't sold on Moore. There's a couple flash in the pan running backs and stuff like that, but there's no depth whatsoever. So, if there's a time where you got to lose some value on a first-round pick in that Indianapolis pick, this might be the year to do it. So if it costs you 2 firsts to move from 4 to 1, like, don't blink an eye at it, man. Don't blink an eye at it. If you're content with Mendoza, which I absolutely would be, if you're content with Moore, which I absolutely would be, Moore would come with a caveat to me, because I think you still need a bridge quarterback.
I think you got to go bridge quarterback regardless, like heading into.
But that's not happening. I think Mendoza's ready to. I think Mendoza's ready to play.
Yeah, no, I think he's ready to start, but I think in free agency you're going into it with the idea of, hey, we got to get a quarterback. Not saying you got to invest a crazy ton of money, but if Malik Willis is coming in for, call it 1 year, $20 million, or whatever the number is, I don't even know if it necessarily would be that high, but given a weak free agent class of quarterback, I could see his value elevated. And honestly, a 2-year contract would be kind of nice, like what we saw with Mac Jones, what we saw with some of the other bridge quarterbacks.
Justin Fields,
not Justin Fields, but yes, Justin Fields happened this past year with the two firsts, or
yeah,
two,
no,
2-year deal,
2-year $30 million contract, right?
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that I want to have a true competition. I do think Mendoza definitely beats out the field of quarterbacks that are available in free agency. It just feels like he is so sharp and so ready. As far as like the potential of going quarterback next year, that's sort of why like Malik Willis has grown on me. And I see Blitzcrew's comment in there. He says, I remember putting in a super chat about Willis and it was instantly dismissed. I was not in on Willis early on at all. I watched, obviously him getting in the game yesterday. I didn't realize that our quarterback coach had the relationship with him until yesterday, I think, was when I started like looking a little bit more into him. I like
so Malik.
Go on.
After you go. No, after you finish.
So my thought process was like, all right, if you get Malik Willis, then it could allow you in a situation where you're like, okay, hey, look, we're sitting at pick 3 or pick 4. We realize we have a lot to have to do on this team. Like, I'm cool with not going quarterback at the top of the draft. They didn't want to, because more than likely with the amount of quarterbacks that are coming out next year and the amount of picks we have next year, like there's a good shot we might be able to just stick and pick next year and make a quarterback selection. Like if the Jets wanted to go, let's say Carnell Tate and Sonny Styles as our first 2 picks, done. Like absolutely over the moon with that. Have no problem with it. But I think you have to give the guys on the roster an option at quarterback that gives them at least some hope to believe. Like you can't tell Brees like, hey, we're not going to get a quarterback this year. We're going to have to get a quarterback the year after. Like,
yeah, or Garrett.
Yeah, the same for both of those guys.
And a lot of the that's a fair point, Ryan. Excuse me. And what people don't realize is, all right, you build up the team around him. Man, we're 2 years away from a quarterback. We're 2 years away from drafting the quarterback, 3 years from that quarterback being able to play. Well, you know what happens in 3 years? You've run through Garrett Wilson's fucking extension.
Yep.
You've run through all the prime years of some of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Brees Hall's probably not on the roster. So the longer you wait, the more you're going to have to replace some of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, as much of a trooper as he's been, you can't tell me that Garrett Wilson is going to just sit calmly and patiently on his hands, laboring through another 4-13 season, as we have, Brady Cook and the Chris Streveler package, running the offense from week 10 to 18 after they fire, Aaron Glenn with another 0-8 start.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that that's going to happen. And I'm hypothetical. I'm just saying, like, if it starts and turns bad, then what are you going to do? Well, don't worry, because the plan was the quarterback in 2027, so on and so forth. You can't do that. Now, your whole Carnell Tate, Sonny Styles thing, I love that. I would love that. I would throw a caveat in there, and that's I would use one of those seconds or use something to come up and grab an end of round 1 quarterback, a Ty Simpson, something like that. Yeah.
I think you'd probably have to go in some sort of capacity of like, hey, either trade down from 4 or you get the receiver at 4. And I feel like you might have to make the Ty Simpson selection at 18 or whatever that middle of the first round pick is. Yeah. And then you get, let's say a linebacker in the second round and you get
which is fine.
And
there's plenty. And like I said, there's plenty of depth there in that sense. So you could do that. But I wanted to go back to Malik Willis, who is a free agent. Sport Track, Spot Track, however you want to pronounce it. Is it Spot Track?
I think so.
Or Spo Track. Anyhow, the website I'm talking about.
Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
They're saying the market value right now, and I'm using him, and I don't want him. But the closest thing to Malik Willis is Marcus Mariota to an extent. I think Malik Willis is better. The market value next year would be just under $9 million a year from Marcus Mariota. So if you could get Malik Willis for 2 for 20, 2 for 18,
yeah,
like I think that'd be phenomenal, considering that you're going to be paying 50 some odd $1 million to two quarterbacks that aren't playing on the roster.
Yeah, 35 to Rodgers and 20 million to to Fields. Yeah, I think that's a smart direction to go. I think we clearly have like a good offensive line. Now, I don't know how much Saleh being in Green Bay last year is going to help the thought process of like, hey, how's New York? How's the owner? Or even LaFleur with his brother being in New York for a little bit. Like, I think I don't know if that dialogue ever happens with Willis at all. But
Gotcha.
I think that might not help our cause. That's what happens when you cycle through all these fucking coaches and they wind up going to other places. Then you just shoot yourself in the foot trying to get free agents anywhere. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Sorless comes in and says, quarterback should be top priority this year, regardless of how next year looks. Look at
Agreed.
the guys who have fallen off since last college season began. Nussmeier, Allar, Klubnik, and even Sellers. Yes, completely agree. That's why Mendoza getting to the top is super appealing. I think if you can convince the Giants, like really, if you could get the Raiders to fall behind, yeah, man, if you can wind up with a top 2 pick, then you can just sort of stick and pick or throw a second round pick to guarantee your guy or something like that. Like, you don't trade away Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams to just make all those selections. Like, you got to understand those trades came with the caveat of like, these are going to help us get a quarterback. And I agree with Dom saying I would not touch the 2027 class. I would say my like max offer at this particular point in time are the 2 firsts this year. And then, I mean, I don't really want to give up a second this year, but I would prefer a second next year. But like the more you kind of play with this year's assets, the better I feel. Because if you think like I've traded Quinnen Williams for a franchise quarterback, that's sort of my thought process. If you give up an additional first and a 2.
Let me pitch this to you. Okay, so we have 4 picks in the top 50, hypothetical. You know, you give up 3 of those, right? And then you get back number 1 overall, and just say like a 3rd rounder, 4th rounder. You know, something to balance it out.
Yeah.
You then have a pick in every round, right? Say you get a 3rd rounder back. You get number 1 and a 3rd rounder back. You have a pick in every round this draft, plus multiple picks in round 7.
Yep.
And next year you have 3 1s, a 2, a 3, and whatever else you get in compensatory picks from this year. Like, that's, to me, sounds like music to my ears. Like, you're not at a disadvantage in terms of like a team like Atlanta, who's going to have like, or Minnesota had last year, had like 3 draft picks going into the, you're going to have a pick in every round. It's just going to be like a normal one, And like you said, in essence, you traded Quinnen Williams and his, hefty contract for your quarterback of the future. You won't know for 5 years if the juice was worth the squeeze, but you also got all that stuff for next year that you don't have to touch. That's where the real building comes.
Oh yeah. And I think, you know what? I think there's also a situation where like maybe like AG could be gone at the end of next year. If the wheels fall off, he doesn't look good with whoever the rookie quarterback is. We don't see the improvement. And there's like, okay, is there a big fish out there that's ready to be caught? I think depending on how the Ravens kind of shake out, maybe there's a situation where Harbaugh shakes free and gets fired. I could see him taking a year off and coming back in 2027, having 3 first-round picks.
John Harbaugh.
If you have 3 first-round picks and a franchise quarterback already in the bank, you're going to be super attractive to a lot of head coaches. So like getting it to kind of work out now in this draft seems optimal because best case scenario, everything works out well. Glenn continues to stay on. He grows as a coach. He makes the picks next year. But either way, having that draft haul next year plus the quarterback in-house would be very, very appealing.
Yeah. So, Ryan, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to ask you for a favor.
Sure.
There's a couple not super chats, but there's a couple of things in the chat that I think are good talking points.
Let's hit them.
One of them right here, Paul O'Brien, 4856, right under the Nightbot.
Paul O'Brien. Those wins we had were fool's gold and have really fucked us.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Okay.
Can I say my counterpoint to this, or do you want to hit it first?
No. You go first. You go first, because I got a big talking point to this.
So I agree that those 3 wins were smoke and mirrors. 3 backup quarterbacks, lots of special teams help, and it was to teams that are kind of hot garbage. Not that the Bengals are hot garbage, but obviously with a backup quarterback, it's a different game. I would say that the Jets were a better team outside of that, because there's a really like strong argument that the Jets, if they had halfway decent quarterback play and even just special teams help in general, Jets lost the Steelers game because Gibson fumbled. The Jets probably should have beat the Broncos and should have beat the Bucs. So like you're talking the Jets sitting at potentially 6 wins right now and being somewhere in the, 10 through 13 pick potentially. I think looking at those wins that we had hurts more now because of who they were. But if you're going to look back and play that game, you got to look back at the other side of things and things that like sort of worked out in our favor by losing, the Steelers game and the Dolphins, or the Steelers, the Denver and the other team, that Tampa game. So what were your thoughts?
So here's my thoughts, and you kind of touched on it to an extent. I'm gonna delve a little bit deeper. And I think this year for the Jets have personified how much of a week by week league the NFL is, right? Yep. It is a week by week to week league. You never know what's going to happen one week to another, right? Now, in any other season, except for except for 2020 or 2019 going into 2020. No, I'm sorry, 2020 going into 21. Like any other year, if you ended up 3-14, you'd be almost a lock for the first pick. 3-14, there's gonna be teams that end up 3-14 that have like the 6th or the 7th pick in this draft. So it's unlucky that there's so much parity. You're either bad or you're good. There's not much in the middle. And most of it is really bad. So it stinks that you have that we have only 3 wins, and there's a chance that we'll still be just at the end of the top 5 picking overall. Which is crazy. Secondly, it's listen, I no holds back. I mean, my feelings. Like, I don't think Aaron Glenn's a very good coach. I love Aaron Glenn, the player, the reminiscent of the player. I don't really think he's a very good coach. I'm not going to sit here and harp on the we need to fire Aaron Glenn, because I know that's not happening either. But I think it shows like we've been historically bad, like by tons of different metrics. This might be the 2nd worst season the Jets have had in their history. Only Lou Holtz's team in like 1974, led by Joe Namath, in the end of his career was statistically worse. By point differential and strength of schedule and all that stuff. Like, this is historically bad. We've won 2 of the 3 wins that we have, whereas they're direct result of special teams. Now, that's great. You want your special teams to be good. But there's been 4 games in the history of the NFL, since they've been counting the stats, 4 games where a winning team has 2 special teams touchdowns and only wins by a touchdown or less, right? Just like we beat Cleveland. We shouldn't have beat Cleveland. We should not have beaten Cleveland. On the counterpoint, we probably should have beaten Tampa, right? We had that game locked. So like to say that at least 2 of our wins weren't fluky at best, because special teams can be kind of fluky. There's not many special teams touchdowns that happen, for teams in the year. A lot of teams go a whole season without one. We've had one almost every game. We've had multiple special teams scores in games that we've won. So
the blocked field goal for a touchdown.
Yes.
Getting the ball on the 2-yard line with the turnover on the punt.
It's been very, very fluky. We easily could have been a 1-win team by now, right? But to the same point, we probably could have also been a 5 or a 6-win team by now if we didn't, if what's his face doesn't drop the punt in the Pittsburgh game, or
Gibson.
like you said, we come up with a stop in the Tampa Bay game, which we had that one. So I get it, but it just clearly hammers home. This is a week by week league. You never know who you're going to face, what backup quarterback you're going to face, or what situation that you're going to get either hurt with or blessed with the flukiness of.
100%. That was a great question and comment in there, Paul. I just want to throw up there Sprocket and Alan Force 3022. Both you guys have put ticket emojis in the live chat. If you guys are interested in going to Jets Patriots this Sunday, I've got 2 tickets I'm going to give away tomorrow on the Talking Jets stream with Matt tomorrow. So drop a little ticket emoji if you can go. That'll get you qualified. If you're listening to this after the fact, drop a ticket emoji in the comment section. We just want to make sure you can go to the game. And then I'm going to give away 2 tickets. There's no parking pass, so you still got to get a parking pass. But I've got 2 tickets that we'll give out to someone tomorrow. So make sure you're tuning in. If we don't hear from you within 24 hours, I will move on to someone else because I want to make sure we get them to someone and they just don't go to waste. But make sure you tune in tomorrow for that. Dom, was there another one in here that you saw that you wanted to jump over to? I see Blitzcrew in the chat saying, how is Stiggers looking? Can he be a starter? I don't want to necessarily rely on Stiggers to be a starter. I love him in his role that he's currently in, like fill-in spot starter and special team starter. I think that's a really nice home for him. What are your thoughts on Stiggers?
Yeah, you know what? I thought Stiggers played really well yesterday. If there was any bright spots in there, it's the way that Stiggers played. Not, he's been doing it on special teams all year long. Like, it's funny that we've gone from, not Irv Charles. Who was the guy here before Irv Charles, who we signed from Atlanta, the special teams ace?
Yes. Harding.
Somebody in the chat help us out.
Yeah, it's God, what the fuck's his name? I think it's Harding. That feels right.
Anyhow, so we went from him to Irv Charles, and it doesn't seem like we've missed a beat to Quantez Stiggers. Like, those gunners are really, really important. But you get to see Stiggers now in more of a asked or pressed shine, spot to shine as a defensive back playing cornerback. And listen, he's done what Sauce and Brandon Stevens really lacked to do a lot, and he did it a couple times yesterday. Turned his head around and made a play on the ball. Didn't result in an interception.
Hardy,
with Hardy, that's it, Justin Hardy.
I was like, that was something with a hard something.
Yeah, which is the fact that the Jets are 16 games in and don't have an interception, that's just as fluky as scoring, winning a game by scoring 2 special teams, winning a game by 7 points and scoring 2 special teams touchdowns. That's it. I can't believe it's happening that we don't have an interception, but listen, he's played okay. I don't know if he's ever going to be a true like CB2 material, but he's definitely good depth for sure.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him. He's been one of my more favorite players that we've brought in. Let's see.
His story is really cool though.
It is
his story. Yeah. Stigger's story is really, really cool, man. So
the never playing collegiate football is just a really nice, cool pathway to get in. And then he was MVP of the Canadian Football League, right?
He was Rookie of the Year in Canadian Football League, MVP of the Shrine Bowl.
Ooh, I did
most on the defensive side of the ball. He won the best player at the Shrine Bowl that year.
I want to take a look. I'm just curious I haven't looked at the mock draft side of things here. So they have the Jets taking a safety. God damn it! I really don't want to go safety that high.
Well, what's funny is that like. I agree with you, Ryan, and I don't think like a top 5 safety makes any sort of sense. But a safety and an off-ball linebacker, might be the 2 best position, like non-quarterback players in this draft class.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if if you're trying to go best available, that's what you might be looking at. I don't think the Jets will do it, but like sometimes it's like it's okay, best available. I miss on the 2 quarterbacks. I'll take this stud, offensive tackle, or this stud, this this Marvin Harrison, this stud edge rusher, or this Marvin Harrison type wide receiver, and there's just none of that. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I like Cardinal Tate. I actually think he's going to be a very good pro.
Yeah, I'm very high on Tate. I would be very, very excited if the Jets made that selection. And then they have Ty Simpson going 18.
18.
I would probably go, if I had to switch this, I would go receiver instead of safety at the top. And then the quarterback at 18. Let's see what they got at the second round. Brandon Cisse.
Corner. He's a defensive back corner.
I've heard he's really good, right? Like the South Carolina kid. Someone was telling me.
Listen, not my favorite. It's not that he's bad. I'm not saying he's bad at all. You know what I don't like about him? He runs very hot and cold, and it's really hard. There seems to be a lack of consistency in his film this year, but he does offer a lot of the skill sets that Aaron Glenn wants. Long armed, physical outside press corners on the outside. So he would feel that wouldn't be my first choice, especially since I think it's a little bit deeper of a defensive back class. If I wanted to bring somebody in for depth, I can do that in rounds 3, 4, or 5 without question.
They have Jeremy Bernard, Alabama wide receiver. What do you think of that?
He's my wide receiver 4 in the class. I really, really like Bernard, and it's funny because I had a good conversation with somebody in the draft circle about him. And we talked about it on my podcast, shameless plug, Project Prospect with Dom C. Go check it out for your draft needs. And, we were talking about it, and he was like, he's like, the thing with Bernard, he's like, he's not elite in anything. I said, you're right. I said, but he's real good at everything. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got inside outside versatility. He can, so he can play the slot. He can play outside, in the Z. You can flip flop him and Garrett. He's a really good route runner. He's got really good hands, good body control, goes up and gets the ball. He's just not the biggest. He's not the strongest. He's not the fastest. He's just a football player. He does everything really, really good. I happen to really like Jeremy Bernard a whole heck of a lot. I think he's the perfect example of a guy who's going to be a better pro than he is collegiate football player.
Ooh, that makes me feel good. I like seeing that. It feels like there's a pretty decent crop of wide receivers in this class.
There is, Rye. There is.
Do you think second round is the sweet spot for a receiver? Do you put any value in the 5th year option of players, or do you think that, kind of like what Muji did this past year with Sauce and Garrett, you're extending him after 3 years, so the 5th year option almost, it's a leveraged thing, I guess, but I don't know how important it necessarily is if they're going to re-sign guys after year 3 anyway.
Well, it becomes important because even if you look at the Sauce and the Garrett, the structures of the contract, they're not getting paid anymore during they got what would equate to the 5th year option, on the books, at least for cap purposes. But he's committing to them a little early. I think the Jets will probably need. And let me speak about the wide receiver class here. I think that the top 3 guys are on a way clear higher tier than the rest of the class. There's depth, but I think the top 3 guys are in this class are in a class themselves. There's a big gap, and I like Bernard. Don't get me wrong; he's my wide receiver 4. But I think there's a big enough gap between 3 and 4 where I would like to say if I'm looking for a wide receiver. And I have the means to stick one of these 3 guys, and all 3 of them are different, which is pretty cool too. Cardinal Tate hasn't been credited with a drop yet this year. You know, he's from Ohio State. You know, he can run routes as fluid and as good as anyone in this class. 6'2", you know, he's got some stretch, some vertical X stuff that he can do. You know, very, very reliable. Then you have Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, who is probably the alpha, you know, has the chance to be the, you know, this year's version of Justin Jefferson, where he just comes in and very quickly becomes a dominant force in the NFL. Like, he's got that kind of skill set. He's just battled injuries, you know. He's a fifth-year senior. He's already had 2 broken collarbones, soft tissue injuries on both of his legs, you know, so that kind of worries you. And Mekhi Lemon out of USC, Ryan, who might be the best out of all of them, you know, when it's all said and done. He's just a little undersized. You know, he's 5'10", 195 pounds, but he's strong as an ox. He blocks like Allen Lazard does on the wing, and he plays so physical and so strong through the catch point. Like, you know, he's Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is literally. I mean, if I had to comp Mekhi Lemon to somebody, I'd comp him to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we see how that works in the NFL. So they're all so different. So I think if you can land one of those guys, you do it.
You go top end. That would almost be like, get your guy, whoever it is, at 4. I feel like that's the. I mean, maybe Lemon falls to 18. I don't think Tate or Tyson wind up making it that far down.
You know what? It'll depend. I don't think so. But it also wouldn't surprise me if, like I said, if there was a team that really loved Mekhi Lemon, it wouldn't surprise me if he went in the top 10 at all. It wouldn't surprise if you had him ranked number 1. If you had him ranked as a top 10 player in the class and you're number 1 wide receiver, I wouldn't question it one bit.
There's enough of like a flavor. I don't want to say flavor of the week, but like you could have multiple favorites depending on what your need is.
Correct. Because when you look at this class, and just as you have here up on, these are Tankathon's rankings, obviously. They're all different.
These guys are.
These guys, don't work at the ranking numbers, but the players themselves are all different. You know, Concepcion, he's another, older transfer from North Carolina State, I believe he went to. But it's really just like, he's another guy who takes over the offense. He's like your slot, like your jitterbug kind of guy, can get open. He's got some dropsies. I think he's got like a 12% drop rate this year, which is not good. But he's going to help a team right away who needs a slot receiver. He's going to help a team right away who needs a punt and a kick returner. Chris Bell has, Green Bean's going to love Chris Bell's film, because he's got the Denzel Mims prototype. 6'3", 225 pounds. He's going to run he tore his ACL, or else he'd probably run a 4.2 40. He's that kind of guy. Brazard is long. We talked about Bernard. We talked about Bernard. Denzel Boston's like, he's your prototypical possession type X receiver. Kind of like the kid down in Atlanta. Why can't I think of his name from
Drake
USC?
London.
Drake London. There you go. So there's all different types of Elijah Surratt. We know what he is. Every Jet fan's been watching every single one of Mendoza's games. You see his go-to reliable, receiver, especially in those, in those 50-50 or those red zone situations is Surratt. Like, I wonder how he's going to separate the NFL, but that's for a different story. So there's so many different types of receivers. There's so much different flavor out there for teams to have. So
if we end up with Mendoza, would you endorse like a Surratt signing? Like, is that one, because you're probably looking second round, so it would probably be your only second round pick, like assuming you have to give up like a 2 and a 1, like both 1s and a 2.
I think that might be a little too rich for me personally in round 2 to take Surratt. Like, I would take his counterpart, his teammate Omar Cooper Jr. I'd take him in the round 2. And that still might be a little bit early. I don't know if they have him on there.
Tankathon's not exactly the best for mock drafts.
I think he's on there, probably just in a different spot. Doesn't matter. But I would prefer him over Elijah Surratt. I just think his game's going to translate better at the NFL than Surratt. So,
Dom, we've hit
10
that
o'clock.
10 o'clock hour. I want to hear from you. What you got going on?
We got positional breakdowns going on my channel right now. So every week, leading up into the Senior Bowl, we're going to be breaking down on the podcast a different positional group. And I got a bevy of different guys in the draft industry to come in and talk shop. I don't got a regular day where the podcast is going to be put out. It's kind of more so when I can get it edited and all that fun stuff done. And about 4 weeks almost to the day away from Mobile, another Senior Bowl trip.
I love it. I love seeing the videos that you come back with, and he's texting us in our group chat all these like little insider tips and nuggets and stuff. He's like, "Oh man, check this guy out. Keep an eye on this." Dom has this like, his draft guide, absolutely incredible, like the gospel when it comes to Jets like draft analysis.
Yeah, next year I'm going to this off season I'm going to make a conscious effort to take, because Ryan, you see it, and I'm not saying on a soapbox, but this is a lot of work.
Dude,
I'm gonna try
so much effort.
I'm gonna try to figure out how to put this into a website. It's got to be easier.
Yeah,
you know, I gotta talk to somebody to see if I can create, like, just put all this information into a website so that the masses can access it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to actually be like a Google spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It is impressive, and I greatly appreciate all the hard work and effort you put into it. No one is more knowledgeable than Dom. So if you guys do not follow Dom, make sure you follow him on Twitter, follow him on YouTube, Project Prospect with Dom C. Dom, thanks so much for hanging out tonight. I'll see you next week, and we'll be talking in the group chat.
Always a pleasure, brother. Have a good. Oh no, I'll see you. I won't see you next Monday. We'll talk.
Okay.
Talk. I'm taking my son to his first concert, man. I'm stoked.
Oh, who's the concert?
Yeah. Fish.
I thought you were gonna say Taylor Swift. No, I'm kidding.
No,
That's awesome.
no,
Dude, Fish heads are like, people love Fish.
I love the music, man. It's been a long time since I've seen him too. So he's into music, and we're going for kind of like both just like a nice little,
that's awesome,
dad and son bonding thing in the midst of some weed smoke or whatever they're doing over there.
I'm sure you'll smell plenty of that out there.
Yeah, here, son. Here's your first contact high.
Where's the concert at?
At the Garden.
Oh, that's awesome. Concerts at the Garden are a lot of fun. There's not a bad seat in that entire place.
Yeah, should be fun. Looking forward to it. So I won't see you next Monday, but we'll get in touch next week at some point.
I'll have my people talk to your people, and we'll converse. Dom,
bye, buddy.
Always a pleasure. Boom. Dom has been ejected from the cockpit. Love you, Dom. Let's see. I'm going to do call-ins, but I'm just trying to figure out what I have to do here. I want to move this one here. This one here. So we got some stuff to pull up. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. What am I doing? This. I'm going to drop link in the live chat. So if you guys would like to call in, you are more than welcome. Let me see if I have a way to do this in a way that I can stay on this one screen. I think there's a way to do it. Give me a second to figure this out. Where am I and what am I looking at? If I hit the 2, what does this do? Does that get me to the other screen? Nothing happens. Why did nothing happen? Hit it one more time. I have no idea. All right. I thought I had it saved. 32. That doesn't do it. All right. So that's what I need. Boom. All right. I think I figured it out. Let's see if this works. Might be a little clunky. I've got Mike, then Rich, then Cameron on the line. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes each. Where does my little timer go? 3 minutes pops up there. I got so much stuff on the screen. All right. Let's see if I can do this and make it look kind of clean. All right. That's probably not as great as I would like to do it, but that's okay. I'm going to let it ride. All right. We're going to go to Mike first. And let's hit the little reset on that. Mike, how you doing, dude?
Hey, man. I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear. What are your thoughts on our Jets right now?
Who's the owner of the New York Jets?
Dick, Woody Johnson?
It doesn't matter what we do. You guys got to stop. Stop it. Stop. It doesn't matter who we draft. Doesn't matter who we trade up for. Doesn't matter. It's Woody Johnson. He's going to freaking screw it up. I am depressed. This team is like, how, you know what it sucks about this team? That I can't watch top 15 quarterback play. They're fucking bottom third, 32, 33, 34 every goddamn year. I can't get a normal quarterback. Tyrod Taylor, you are the worst backup in the NFL because you're never healthy. You suck. Fields hit the broad side of the barn, you piece of bum-ass trash. I can't do this anymore. 32, 33, 34 QBR year in, year out. Why can't I get a top 15 quarterback? Why can't I get a top 25? What did I do to deserve this?
Dude, we're just getting beat up. Who do you want? If you had to pick your quarterback for next year, who's your quarterback?
All right. If you don't outbid yourselves, you go for Mendoza. But my biggest fear is the Jets do what the Jets do, and they sell the fucking farm and they screw it up and they get Mendoza.
Oh, it's gonna be like 3 firsts, and I'm gonna be pulling my hair out.
Yes, because like, let's be honest. If this was a different draft with like Mendoza, say Burrow, other people, no one's trading up for this guy. Like, it's true. No, look at his stats. No one would be trading up 2 firsts for him. I don't care what you tell me.
I think he is good. I would give up the 2 firsts to get him. Like, if you told me I could give up 4 and 18, like honestly 4, 18 and a second round pick, I'm on board with getting Mendoza. I think his floor is so high.
Even that's too much for me. Like, I give a high floor, so we get a Chad Pennington-esque
I think
player.
His ceiling's high, but I think it's just like safe. Like for me, Zach had sky high ceiling and astronomically low floor.
I hear you. It's just like I don't know. I just don't believe anything they do is going to be the right thing. I have no faith in this team anymore because it's failed every time. I almost would rather them just trade down and just do more with it. Like, maybe someone falls in love with Dante Moore. And there's no guarantee the Giants don't say screw and take Mendoza because they don't trust Jackson Dart to not have 15 concussions, which is a real concern. Yeah, like, if you're a Giants fan, there's a real concern that you might just take from it because it's not Dable anymore. Shane's probably going to get fired. They may not trade that pick. They may say, let's hit it again. So we'll see what happens in the draft. We see what happens at the combine. Usually some fucking stud guy who looks like he's on steroids lights it up and gets drafted 20 picks too high. Usually it's the Jets taking that player, but that's not the point.
Like, is there a situation where you sit at 4 and just go quarterback? Like you think, it's just like, hey, we like all 3 guys.
I just want a top 15. I just want a competent offense, man. I'm not asking for the fucking world here. I want my team to look like they're playing the other fucking sport. They're playing the team. That's all I want. Look like you're playing football. They look like they're fucking lost every game.
Ejected from the cockpit. Oh God. Fiery. I love it. I've got Rich, then Cameron, then Eric on the line. Let's go over. Set this up. Let's go over to Rich. Rich, dude.
What's up, Ryan?
How are you
Thanks for having
feeling
me.
about our Jets?
I feel like shit, man. I feel like shit. I ditto what the last guy said, but there's still reason for optimism. We have a lot more offensive infrastructure than I'm used to ever seeing. I love the line. I feel like we have a number one receiver in Garrett Wilson. We all know that. I think A.D. Mitchell can play. If we can get another guy in there, a third receiver, then I think, and we keep Brees, I think we really have a legitimate offense. My issue is this quarterback class. If we're not getting Mendoza, we're not getting an NFL ready quarterback. I like Moore a lot, but if we don't get one of those guys, why even take a guy high? Like we're just wasting a pick, in my opinion, at that point. I wish we fucking lost to the Cleveland Browns. How dare those fans insult me for wanting to lose that game when I know what it's going to do to our team? Now we're going to have to trade up multiple ones to get a quarterback. Oh my God, it drives me crazy. I don't want to trade the farm for a quarterback, but I want Mendoza. And one more point, Mendoza, man, they say that this isn't a good quarterback class. I think they're right, but Mendoza, he's got the mental processing. He throws an accurate ball. Just because he's not super athletic and like doesn't have a cannon arm doesn't mean that his ceiling's limited. He can be really good. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. For all the times I say like I think Mendoza has a high floor, that's not to imply that he doesn't also have a high ceiling. I think he just feels very safe. Like I feel very comfortable looking at him saying that's an NFL quarterback. He's making NFL throws. Like if I were to trade up, that's the quarterback I would want to trade up for. I said earlier in the stream I wouldn't mind trading up for trading up for Dante Moore, but like admittedly I'm not super comfortable. The 1 year of starting experience scares the shit out of me. Him and Ty Simpson, the two of them. Like if you want to sit at 4 and make the selection of either quarterback because you haven't given up the rest of the picks, like okay, I can understand that. Like make the calculation, like is the price to go up to get Mendoza worth the picks you're giving up? Or are the picks plus Moore or Simpson more valuable? You got to kind of weigh those options. I'm hoping Simpson just wows me in the college football playoffs and throughout the draft process.
Me too.
Because
let's go QBs, baby.
Dude, worst case scenario is like 3 guys look pretty good and we got a shot at him. Because like Dom was saying, like I think the Jets are going to have to get a quarterback this year. I don't think you can push it off an additional year with Garrett and with Brees. I think you guys
so much risk. So much risk. We really need to. If we don't get it this year, it's a big loss. We could go for it next year, but it's a big loss. Before you can me, if I can, I want to say one thing.
Yeah, sure.
I was a huge tank for Trevor guy back in the day, and when we beat the Rams, I was so devastated. When we lost to the Raiders, I was running circles, screaming.
Dude, I was doing
with
the
joy,
airplane.
when we lost to the Rams, and then when we beat the Rams, and then I came on YouTube, and you had this stoic, furious face, and I needed that so badly because you were the only person that embodied how I felt. So thank you for that. I will forever be grateful. JETS.
Jets. Dude, you have been ejected from the cockpit. Rich, always a pleasure talking to you. For you guys that haven't seen it, if you guys haven't seen my video post the Jets-Rams game, like I was so lost. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like the punter, Braden, man, you tackled the guy that would have gotten us Trevor Lawrence. And then I think we wound up winning a game after that too. But like either way, that loss, I was so distraught. They actually played my video and talked about me on Florida Jaguars radio for sports. Like this poor bastard in New York is like distraught that they've been bad all season long and missed out on Trevor Lawrence. And for all the people that are like, screw Trevor Lawrence, whatever, like that whole draft class sucks. Man, I really wish we had Trevor Lawrence right about now. It'd be looking pretty nice. But I digress. All right, I've got Cameron, then Eric, then Mudfiles up on the chat. So let's head over to one Mr. Cameron. What's good, dude?
Evening, Ryan. How's it going?
Another day, another dollar. How you feeling about our Jets?
I mean, I got a raise today at work, so speaking of dollars.
There you go.
And yes, I am the
You've earned
Navy
it.
one that pops up. So, that's my old military name.
Yeah, when I saw it pop up, like I just usually know like this particular stream and the question's like, oh, we're doing call-ins? I was like, I know that's Cameron.
Yep. I mean, I like to know where I find myself.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this team at this point, I'm fully behind us losing. I think it's good for Cook. I do think we need to do something about the defense, whether Glenn takes it over in the offseason or whatever. I just don't see that we have it in-house. Wilkes obviously wasn't it. The offense, I think there is talent there when Garrett comes back. I like the offensive line the way it's constructed now. I like Tippmann at guard. I think we have our tackles. At this point, I never liked the idea of giving up your entire stock of first round to get a quarterback, but
Yeah.
I've watched enough of Mendoza, and I've gone pretty deep into his tape at this point. I'm getting the sneaking suspicion he might be, if you remember what Justin Herbert was in college, where his coach admitted they didn't let him do anything because they didn't like any of the backups, and they're like, if you get hurt, we are screwed. And I get the feeling that that may be what Indiana's doing, and I'll be curious to see what happens now that they're in the playoffs. If he just shows, surprising speed and better arm strength than you've seen all year. We know he has the processing power. We know he's got the accuracy. He certainly has the fourth quarter. I have no fear. I'm going to make that throw. Like the throw I watched, I live in the Midwest, so I saw the Bears-Packers the other night. That throw Caleb Williams made to DJ Moore, which was just like,
Awesome.
there are three people on the planet that can make that, and he happens to be one of them. And I wonder if that's what we're about to see, and I could be wrong, but he seems to have the size. He's humble enough, and I think with a good offensive line, which shaping up we might have, I'd love to see what he can do, but I'm afraid to give up both first-round picks this year and weaken the roster overall. Even though we do have 3 picks next year, if we can move up with maybe one of our first-round picks and a second, and maybe you throw in a first next year, I'm a little more comfortable than dumping everything this year and weakening his surrounding cast even further, and saying, hey, next year we have 3 picks. We can build for you next year. Yeah, but if he gets killed in year 1, what did you really give him?
We're gonna go after Linderbaum. We're gonna get like a crazy center, and Myers will be our backup. We're gonna, we got $100 million to burn, and we've got 14 draft picks. We have 42 or 43 guys under contract going into next year. So just from draft picks alone, without free agency, you got your 53. It's obviously that's not exactly how it's gonna work, but I think you go after the guys you really, really, really want. Like, if it's 5 years, $100 million for Linderbaum, go do it. Like get him. Make him the highest paid center if you have the opportunity to do it. I'd like to see the linebacker ends loan from the Lions come in. I'd like to take a look at a safety or a D tackle. Like, I think that's where you kind of round out more of the help. Maybe some depth pieces.
You're thinking free agency vibe.
Yeah, I like plugging holes. And you know what? I don't need to like blow our load.
I'd love
on
Linderbaum.
Linderbaum's the one that I would go
whatever it costs. I'm willing.
Yeah, like I'm in. I'm on board with it. I think it's just sort of the price of paying for that. And when you have your 2 young tackles on either side, pair them with a young center, like you've got your line for the next 5-10 years. Like that to me is very, very appealing, and that's worth the money. When you look at like other positions, like I don't want to spend a crazy ton on linebacker. I don't want to spend a crazy ton on safety. I don't want to spend a crazy ton on defensive tackle. Like, give me the second and third tier guys. Let me allow us to build up through the draft as well. But I think you can surround this team with enough talent. I would say the one position I don't want to address in free agency is wide receiver 2. That to me, I would like to see.
We have that on the team. Yeah, I love the guys we've got in the trades. I don't think at this point we need to address the wide receivers.
Really? I want wide receiver 2. I want a wide receiver early in the draft, like top 2 rounds.
Okay.
So like if the Jets can make the move up,
then if you trade your first 2 round picks, you're thinking second round wide receiver.
Correct. Yeah. Like if we wanted to sit at, I would take receiver at any one of our first 4 picks. If we have to go trade up for Mendoza, which I think is what we're ultimately going to end up doing.
I'd like the receiver out of USC.
He's going to be really
His
good.
route
I don't think we're going to
is
get an opportunity
incredible.
to get him if we trade up.
I could see him second round though. If you get a high enough
Don
second
was
round
saying
pick,
he's one of our top 3 guys, but who knows? I mean, everyone's got different wide receiver rankings, so it could change. Cameron,
just like him. Hey,
you
know what? As always,
get out of here! I'm sticking to the 3 minutes. Sticking to the 3 minutes. We've got Eric and then Mutt Files coming up. Let's go over to Eric. Wait, did I move it over? I think I moved it over. Boom, Eric, what's up, dude?
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to have you on here. What are your thoughts for how our Jets are looking right
Well,
now?
I'm not exactly buying into the all the talk about Aaron Glenn, being replaced after 1 year. I'm just not buying it because
It feels surprising.
obviously you're seeing a lot of stuff going on right now with with coaches maybe being let go. You saw what happened with Baltimore last night. Now there's a lot of talk about John Harbaugh maybe in some kind of trouble. So I really don't necessarily believe that. Even if it was a big time coach coming along here, I don't think he's ever going to come here anyway. I mean, that's just the way you got to look at it. It's just the best coach available. I mean, if the Giants seem to be a much better, much better look only because maybe of the ownership and maybe all the, all the tradition that goes behind that. But I'm not really buying it, and I'm sure you're not doing it either. The one thing I'm
Yeah.
going to do is tomorrow night when I call into you and Bean and Matt, I definitely want to ask, about not just the draft, but I'm also, like I said, I feel the same way. Like I want to be in Ozzie Newsome mode. I'm just gonna say, let's just let things play out, and who knows? I mean, maybe the quarterback comes to us without even having to go into Mendoza. You don't know how things are going to play out. I mean, I think it's great that we're having all the discussions about mock drafts and stuff like that. But you got to let the season finish out before you do something like that. I mean, yeah, if Vegas wins and they beat the Giants and we get something like that, who knows what might turn around? You never know. But I'm still a little bit tentative about trading draft picks right now because obviously after what we saw over the weekend, it's obviously quarterback is number one, but there's a lot of things going on that just needs to be addressed. I think you feel the same way I do.
Yeah, I definitely do. And I think I don't want to give up the war chest of picks. I say I would trade up for Mendoza because I feel the most like confident that he's going to be a good quarterback. But if
Yeah.
let's say the Jets wind up with a third pick and we like all three of those quarterbacks, like let's say Ty Simpson, wows everyone in the the offseason workouts. He does really well in the college football playoffs and everything. And scouts just say like, hey, it was receivers dropping passes. It was a terrible offensive line and like all these things that played into it. Like, all right, if we like three quarterbacks going into this draft and we're sitting in a top 3 or top 4 pick, like I'm not moving. I'm sitting. I'm going to stick a
We
pick.
still
Like,
don't even know if Moore is even. So like I said, it seems to be leading that way. But I'm like you. I'll definitely be watching Oregon weeks until the rest of the playoffs. I definitely have to see what's going on with this guy. Very impressive over the weekend, but there's still a lot of things to be seen as well. So we'll see what happens. All right, it's almost my time, but anyway, I'll call it. I'll check with you guys tomorrow night, and Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thanks again.
Merry Christmas to you as well, Eric. Thank you so much for calling in. You've been ejected from the cockpit. You're out of here. Pleasure talking to you, Eric. Got our buddy Mutt Files. Let's see if I can hit the button. Will it actually change to the screen? Oh, it does.
Really?
What's up, Mutt Files? I don't know what I did before, but I couldn't figure it out.
It's
before.
been a minute.
It's been a little bit. I mean, the last time we were talking, you were just all about, hey, Joe Burrow's going to get traded. Joe Burrow's going to get traded. And then like fucking 3 weeks after that, dude, you've been very adamant about Joe Burrow since last year. And like,
It has not changed. I'll tell you that right now. But real quick though, am I the only one? Like, am I the only Jet fan who doesn't want to trade up for a quarterback? Like,
no,
yes,
there's
I
a lot.
want to take one.
There are a lot of people that do not want to trade up. A lot of people don't like Mendoza. I don't get that, but like, I understand not wanting to trade up for sure.
I don't mind taking Mendoza if he falls. If he falls to 4 or whatever we have, fine, take him. I don't think the Browns are going to take a quarterback because you have Shador. They're going to see what he can do, him and Dylan Gabriel. You have the Giants with Jackson Dart. Chill, just the Raiders. Let's see what they do. Because you were talking about, I forgot who you were talking about before. You were talking about taking a receiver earlier. Why not get the kid from Ohio State? What's his name?
Carnell Tate. Yup.
Yeah,
that's
Carnell Tate.
If you could tell me we could get
anyway.
Carnell Tate and Sonny Styles, like give me top wide receiver, arguably top linebacker, both off the best team in the country, like I'm on board. I like that. I just think I think the Jets are going to have to solve quarterback for Brees and Garrett. Like punting in 2026 for a quarterback, I don't think it's an option. I really don't. I don't think Glenn can survive that if we have a bad season. I don't think Garrett or Brees are going to put up with it. Like I think Brees is going to be on a franchise tag with the potential of getting signed if he buys into the quarterback that we do get. And I think that might have to happen in season.
Right. The franchise tag though with Brees Hall, I can see that definitely.
Mhm.
I'm not giving up on AD Mitchell though. I do like him though. When he was
No,
when he came out
yeah,
of
I don't think you have
drafts,
to give
when he
up
first
on
came
him,
out.
but sorry, I
But
don't
I
mean to
feel like a
jump
lot
on you,
of
but
people are trying to do a little bit. That's just me. Because
I think
the last guy
I
was
think the
talking about,
guys that we
Lemon,
brought in, Mitchell and Mechie, I
Mechie.
look at no better than a wide receiver 3. Like I'm still looking out there to get our, it could be 1B or whatever. Like I want a T. Higgins, Jamar Chase sort of situation going on. And then like, if, eventually a few years from now, like, I don't know when Garrett's contract's up. I mean, he should be here for a while, but like Mitchell's going to have 1 year left after this year, I believe. Or is it 2 years? It might be 2 years. And then I think Mechie's a restricted
he
free
came
agent.
out 2 years ago.
Yeah. So I think it's
Right.
the rest of this year plus 2. I feel like is right.
I just want to solve that defense though in free agency. Though I can definitely see that though. Maybe go. I know this might sound stupid, but maybe go get Demario Davis back, get Anya Alonso, whatever his name is, from Detroit, do something like that.
Yeah.
I know my time's running out. I just want to show you something really quick. First,
Yeah,
I just want
let's
to say, like, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that. I just
well.
want to wish you and your family that. Healthy 2026. So, my girlfriend, like I told you guys before, though, she's pregnant with our son, right? She
Congratulations.
gave me a picture frame for one of the ultrasounds. It's honestly my favorite picture. Just have it right here. So I'll show you quick.
Oh, I want to see it. Let's go.
You'll see why in a second why it's my favorite.
Hold
you
on.
can see. Oh, it's too bright.
Tilt it away from the screen, like tilt it backwards. Like top. Oh, yep.
There we go.
Oh, dude.
You see it? You see what I'm talking about?
Is that a baby arm? Is he looking like daddy right now?
Yeah. Well, according to my girlfriend though, it has a big head, but it looks like he's flipping because
he looks
one
like he's
when it
flipping
comes
the
to, like,
bird.
a picture, or whatever. Yeah,
It's
it's
great.
like he's flipping off the side of the ground.
I love
That's why
it.
she's like, nah. That's how I know that's your kid.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Like it's so exciting.
Thank you.
Like it's a fucking whirlwind.
He's gonna be born.
Mm-hmm. When's the due date?
Though, he's gonna be born right near the draft. April 30th,
So
around that time period.
we're gonna,
I'm like, come on.
You're gonna be like receiving. You're gonna be like, hut, as the Jets are making their selection. You're gonna be watching it up in the top corner of the room. Your wife, your girlfriend, wife's gonna be like bitching at you. Like, I can't believe you're watching them take Mendoza as your baby Fernando. That's what's gonna happen.
That would be comedy. That's what we end up getting. I swear. I'm just gonna laugh,
dude. That's awesome. It's honestly like an absolutely great. I always wanted to be a dad. Growing up, like it was something that I have always wanted to do. But like having the kids, and now my kids are 2.5 and 3.5, and we're going into the Christmas season, and like Shay totally understands what Santa is. Ren is really starting to figure it out. Like they're all about it. We're doing Elf on a Shelf. Like it has been such a blast, and dude, I'm really happy for you. It's awesome. I mean, we've been talking now. It's got to be at least 5 years. I feel like.
Right.
Like when we were calling you multivitamins for the longest time, I was like, I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I can't figure this out. It's multivitamins. That's what I'm calling you. Oh, brother.
Oh, my Lord. I still have that, by the way, though. The first thing that I won off you.
Oh, yeah?
What was it? The shipping thing that has with that name on it. I still have that. It's in my closet.
Which one did I give you? What did you get? I'd have to. Oh God, you'll have to look for it because I'm curious what it would have been at the time. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember.
I could probably go back and like find it if I go through like my order history or something.
Yeah, if you dig through it though, I think it was back in like 2021.
I was gonna say it was a while back.
My last question, then I'm out to you. There's not anyone else behind me. Just any advice though when you were taking care of your girls when they were first born, like the first year and a half.
So
I'm just curious, any advice on that?
The biggest thing I can say, like, soak it in. It happens so fast. So if you get a paternity leave, whether it's through work or through the state, like, take it and be with your family. Like, they're only going to be that small once. I would also say that postpartum is very, very real. So just realize, like, your girl is going to be very, very depressed. Everyone that's going to be asking about, the baby and how's the baby doing, how's this, like, make sure to keep her in the forefront of your mind as well. Like the motherly aspect is Becca got the baby blues like after I don't know if it was after the first one, definitely after the second one. So I would say those two things in particular. Other things that I just kind of like have liked in general, the hatch, which is like a little nightlight that plays music. Like I found out I really like it. I now wake up to the sound of birds chirping at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and like it's absolutely a delight. You know, try to get some sleep when you can. The baby's gonna be it's tough the first year. It's a lot of like, you know, 3 hours sleeping and like, you know, every 3 hours up, down,
I'll
up,
try
down,
with
up, down.
that definitely, because me and her were together now for almost 2.5 years. We're both long distance because she's in Green Bay and obviously I'm here in New York. So I gotta get there. That's my.
I was
thing.
gonna say, are you guys planning to like move together? Like what? You don't.
Yeah,
have
right
to
now
get
she has
into
her
it,
own spot though, and with the way my job is though, since I work in USPS, it's easily transferable, so I can go
Oh,
wherever
that's
I want
awesome.
to. That's
Okay.
the good thing with that, because her sister was actually telling me about the postpartum thing though, because she had her son like right next to her, and she was upset a lot.
Yeah.
She was telling me about that, and she was like, especially because obviously she knows her sister, she's gonna be the same way. So I'm like, okay, so in other words, I need
you
to
do a little bit of research, watch a few videos. There's a few really good YouTube channels. I'll try to. God, I can't think of the one off the top of my head. My wife and I watched one YouTube channel. It was a husband who was a gynecologist and a wife who was like a pediatric something or other, and they were kind of talking about their baby journey, and they were having a kid and like what to expect each week and like even afterwards. And it was just kind of like a really nice way to like learn stuff without having to go to like, you know, obviously we listen to doctors and stuff like that, but it instead of having to go out, just sort of sit in your home, you pop a video on, you're just like, oh, like what's this about? Like what is this thing? And it's just, you know, the amount of knowledge that you can bring into it, and just be calm and composed, and like you're there for her. You're the rock. You are the you know, she's gonna be looking to you when she's like panicked.
Yeah, when it comes to that though, I try and be. The only thing is that her sister's trying to make him a Packers fan. I'm like, no.
Hey,
No,
at least that's the
I'm
NFC
not
side.
look.
You could be a cheesehead because like I'm not gonna totally tell you to make them a Jet fan, but like you can have your Jets and Packers like that.
Look,
that's okay.
To me, if you don't want to be whatever,
It's all just disown you. It's all right.
Picking,
Sorry.
in my opinion, to me,
What?
as long as you ain't picking a division rival or the Cowboys, I do not care.
You're good. You're good. Mutt Viles, when so your son's gonna be born near the draft.
April
I'm
30th.
assuming we probably won't get you for the draft party when we eventually announce it and have all that. Good stuff.
Like I said, I was trying to, unless he pops out earlier than I think.
Who knows? Hey, my second came 5 weeks early. My first came 1 week late. So
Right.
crapshoot.
That's the only thing, because I know one of her sisters had her kid at 7 months, and I believe the other one had her son, I think, like you said, like a week later, maybe.
Week later. They usually don't let you go more than like a week overdue. And they're like, all right.
Chat,
pull the
I am
ejection
sorry though for
cord.
making this a complete switch on the
That's
topic
all
we're
right.
talking
It's the
about.
end of the show. No one's tuned in anymore.
One thing I will say though, at least for a draft thing, that's good. Niners win 34-20 over the Colts.
Love it.
So,
what's our
that's going down.
Let me hit the refresh over here and see what our draft pick is. Ah, damn it, we're still at 8.
Nah, the game's still going on. I'm just saying that's the score
game's
right
still
now.
going.
I was just poking my head over there.
Gotcha. All right. Hey, Mutt Viles. I'll talk to you since then.
Of course. Thank you.
Boom!
See
You
you
are
later.
ejected from the
You're out of
cockpit.
here.
Mutt Viles, you out of here. I'll talk to the chat for a little bit. Maybe, you know what? I'll go till 11. I haven't done a 2-hour stream in a little bit here, so let's talk a little bit. Doesn't hurt that I got to do a quick ad read either. Boom! Let's talk a little bit about him. Sleeper has been absolutely awesome. Think you know football? Then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code JETSTALK, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. You can check out my picks that I made yesterday and I hit it on the Brady Cook. I did not get it on the Mitchell. I did not get it on the Hall, and I was overzealous, and I said Shuck wasn't going to wind up going the over on the yards, and your boy didn't win any money. So there's that. Do better than me. But if you want to support the channel, help support the sponsor of the channel. It goes a long, long way. Thank you so much. Let's see. Where was I? Boys and girls, if you did not know, we're giving away 2 tickets to Jets Patriots tomorrow night. I got 2 tickets. Jets Patriots. Don't have a parking pass, but if you're able to go, leave a ticket emoji in the live chat, and I'll add your name to it. I have Alan Force 3022 and Sprocket 121 as our 2 people that have put in for the tickets. I want to make sure whoever's going to get the tickets is going to know about the tickets. If you guys are interested in entering that, just drop the ticket emoji. We're going to pick it at the end of tomorrow's show. So you 2 guys, make sure you're tuned in to the end of the Talkin' Jets show, because if you do not get in contact with us within 24 hours of that show airing, we're going to move on to the next person, because I want to make sure those tickets do not go to waste. So make sure you are aware of that. Let's go through the chat. Edward says, let's trade for Kyler Murray. I do not want to trade for Kyler Murray. I am not a Kyler Murray fan. I don't like the contract. I think he will be on the move. I don't know where he goes. I feel like Minnesota might not be a terrible spot for him. I have no idea what his trade value is either. I don't know what happens. Zoink Nation, I see you in there, buddy, dropping the ticket emoji. Gonna write your name down for tomorrow. If you guys are watching after the fact too, please feel free to drop a comment with a ticket in the comment section below this, and we'll get entered into that. Mutt Vials, I see you in there. Awesome. Good stuff. While and Why says, why would the Jets trade all those picks to move up when next year's draft class is better? I think the big issue with trying to wait till 2027 for a quarterback, as a fan, I don't necessarily mind it. Like, I've seen enough shit football for so long, like I don't really care. But I think you've already done the 1 year wait for, like, hey guys, Justin Fields might be the quarterback, and if he's not, like, we're going to do everything we can to get the quarterback in 2026. I don't think that plays for an additional year. If that's your choice, you're probably going to burn a franchise tag on Brees and not be able to re-sign him. Garrett Wilson's probably going to be pretty pissed off if he has to wait an entire another year, and just everyone gets another year older. It's just, now you're talking, okay, we got to replace Will McDonald. You got to replace Jermaine Johnson. Like, at some point you do have to make the play for the quarterback. Dom made a really good point that this draft class is weaker than some other draft classes. Like, 2027 is going to be loaded. Like, it might not be a bad idea to have your quarterback figured out this year, use the picks in this year's draft when you're not as sold on some of the other players in the draft, and use your top picks next year. Like, there's a shot the Colts pick could be number 1 overall. There's a shot our pick could be very high. Like, we might have 2 top 10 picks next year. And now you're talking about, in a heavy quarterback draft, either going best player available that's at a non-quarterback position, or trading out for a team that wants a quarterback and just adding picks and adding picks and adding picks. Like, that I really, really like. So for me, the best case scenario is you love all 3 of the quarterbacks coming out. Moore comes out, Simpson comes out, Mendoza comes out, all 3 of those guys. They all look good in the college football playoffs. You feel confident, and you wind up with a top 3 pick. Hopefully something happens with the Raiders falling behind us. Strength of schedule works out for us. It's going to be close. There's a situation where the Giants win next week versus the Raiders, or this week versus the Raiders, and the Raiders win against the Chiefs the final week of the season. But because of strength of schedule, nothing actually happens, and we stay at the 4th pick. So you might have to move up, or you just have to like enough quarterbacks to do that. And then if you're sitting at 4 in potentially a 3 quarterback draft, you just hope a team doesn't trade up to the Giants pick, or the Giants still pick in front of us and they're not going quarterback. But the reason why you don't wait till next year is because I don't know if your young players are going to wait till next year. And I don't know if Glenn's honestly going to make it till next year. If they have another shit season like they did this year, there's a really good shot Glenn's gone and he doesn't even get to use the 3 first-round picks. So I would be, if I'm a betting man, I think the Jets are absolutely going quarterback early in this draft. Mark says, Ryan, is it possible both Moore and Simpson go back to school? That would send everybody into a tizzy. Well, it certainly makes the number 1 overall pick that much more valuable. I think at this point, our best course of action is to hope the Giants get the number 1 pick and just hope, Cleveland catches a win versus a DK Metcalf-less Steelers team in a game that Myles Garrett needs to break the sack record, in the next 2 weeks. I think that's a big, it would be pretty poetic justice almost to watch. I guess the Strahan sack record's been broken, right? Like he's not still tied with that, but Favre on the Packers gives up the sack to break the record. Does Rodgers, former Packer, give up the sack to get the record for Garrett? I think both could go back. Moore lost his offensive coordinator, so I think it's more likely that he is definitely coming out. I feel confident in that. Simpson, while I think he could benefit from going back to school and having a successful year because it's a weak quarterback class, I think it helps him. He's also older. He's 23. I think he turned 23 yesterday. Hold on. Let me fact check that real quick. I'm like almost positive. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. He turned 23 yesterday. So if he waits next year, he's going to be 24 coming out of the draft in a stacked quarterback class. So like I would, if I'm a betting man, I think all 3 of the top 3 quarterbacks that we're anticipating are going to come out. Eric, what's good, dude? Thanks again for the invite. Wouldn't be mad if I didn't throw. Oh, wouldn't be me if I didn't throw support in. Eric, thank you so much. It goes a long way. It really does. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. With it's actually going to be just me and Matt. Bean's got a commitment, so it's going to be the 2 of us talking ball, and probably talking a lot about the draft and a lot about different game plans and stuff. So hang out with us tomorrow, all you guys. Next year's class is better is a myth. I agree, Mike. This year was supposed to be the class that everyone was hyped up on. You were hyped on Nussmeier, on Allar, on Klubnik, on Sellers, and Sellers is going back to school, and Klubnik and Allar obviously got hurt. I don't think he was looking good prior to the injury. This is not the class we were expecting it to be. I do think next year is probably going to be a pretty good class with the guys coming out, but I'm more than okay going with Mendoza this year. Mendoza and Moore and Simpson. Ideal situation is the Jets look like they like all 3 of them. Mike follows that up with McKee or Willis. Take an edge and a D tackle on the first. I don't love doing that. I'm fine with Willis. I like Willis as a free agent. I think that prevents you from needing to force a trade up. I think it allows you to sit there and sort of like think about like, all right, how much are we willing to give up? Is this the guy we are totally in love with? Do we want to stick and pick at 4? Because maybe there's a situation, maybe Cleveland doesn't go quarterback. Like Deshaun Watson's going to be owed a shit ton of money. I think if they cut him June 1st, I think it's $136 million cap hit, like over 2 years. Like that's a monster hit to do. And you could do it. Like if there's a year to do it, maybe the year that you get the quarterback and he's figuring out all his lumps, like year 1, maybe that's not the worst way to do it. You got Sanders, you got Gabriel under contract. Like I could see a situation where they don't go quarterback. McKee, I like. I don't know what you'd have to give up for him. Maybe a 4th round pick. I wouldn't be opposed with either one of those. I'd be fine with either one. They're drafting quarterbacks to save their jobs. Yes, I agree with that. I'd be happy with Malik Willis as Jonathan. Yes, we have his quarterback coach on our staff, which I have to do a little more research into and see if that's like a connection that was not necessarily fruitful, but was a good connection in Tennessee, if that's something that could be bridged, or if maybe London is not as high on Malik Willis. That'll tell you a little bit more. Tank for Ty says Simpson will declare, and Moore really should. They both will be top 10 picks. I tend to lean that way as well. I am not confident Simpson makes it to pick 18 or wherever the Colts ultimately pick, where we ultimately pick with the Colts pick. I think if you like him enough to say take him at pick 15, you probably need to take him at top, like in the fourth pick, because there's a situation where the Rams or Arizona, Miami, potentially like Minnesota, like there's some. I don't think Minnesota's going to move off JJ that fast, but like there's some concern with him making it that far back. Troy says Jets should stick and pick Simpson will be there. Yeah, if it could be if you feel comfortable with the top 3 quarterbacks, then don't trade up. I don't feel super confident with Ty Simpson and with Dante Moore, just because of the 1 year of starting experience. Mendoza, I feel more confident in. It's entirely possible Moore and Simpson have a higher ceiling. But if I'm moving picks to go up and get someone, I'm going for the one that I feel is is gonna hit. If I want to stick and pick, then I'm okay with either one of those guys as well. I can see the Rams using the Falcons pick to take Ty and have him sit behind Stafford for a year or take over and have McVay develop him. Yeah, I completely agree. I think the Rams are the biggest threat for a quarterback. I could even see them come up. Like, it would not shock me if they're like, hey, our team's legit right now. We're going to move some picks to go up and get our guy. If they really felt like let's say they win a Super Bowl and Stafford's like on that, like, might ride off into the sunset. Like, it would not shock me in the slightest to see them give up a ton of picks to do it. They're a team that I could see make a big time push for someone like Joe Burrow. I think Burrow would waive his no trade clause to go there if that were a situation that came to be and Stafford wasn't there. I do like if Stafford's going to continue playing, the Ty Simpson pick at the Falcons pick would make a lot of sense. And Tank for Tyrese Buttle says, Boss Girl, that's my big fear. A franchise that actually knows what they're doing will draft him and he will be a star. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like having an offensive coach like a Shanahan or like a McVay is really going to go a long way. I think we're in a not an advantageous situation. The only thing that's positive is if the Jets are bad next year and we have the quarterback, like the coach, like let's say Glenn gets fired after next season, you're going to have 3 first-round picks. You're going to have the quarterback. You're going to be very, very appealing, assuming the quarterback doesn't look like dog water, that you're going to be able to attract a really, really good head coach. So I'm on board with quarterback this year. Hopefully the Jets are too. I think they are. I think that's what's going to happen. Definitely want Styles if we can get him. I like Styles. I think the only way you get him is if you don't trade up. You have to be able to have it. I'd be happy with Tua or Kyler. Jonathan, I'm not on board. Definitely not with Kyler. Tua, I am if he's cut. Like, he's not going to get traded, I don't think. I don't think any team's going to make that move with that contract. The Dolphins owe him so much money that you would be able to sign him for the vet minimum. I think because our offensive line is good, there's that maybe angst to maybe go against the Dolphins. We might have a decent shot at getting him. If he had to be a bridge, you could probably do a lot worse than that. If it were me and I was Tua, I would probably try to play on the vet min for a team that looks complete. Like maybe San Francisco is poking around the quarterback market, even though they got Purdy, but maybe it's worth, going that direction. Maybe it's a team like the Rams if Stafford hangs it up. Like, there could be other options out there, but I don't necessarily hate that. Kenneth, I get not wanting to waste more years on Brees and Garrett, but what do they look like if you draft Mendoza this year and it takes him 4 or 5 years to hit his stride like Lawrence is doing now? I mean, what happens if you wait 1 more year and it takes 4 or 5 years on the 2027 guy? Like, that's kind of exactly what could happen with them too. So I think you just got to get the quarterback and hope he hits, sooner rather than later. Muji has gone to see all 3 quarterbacks play. If he likes them all, we could wind up with Ty. I'm fine with that. I feel like I trust Muji based on his drafting last year and the trades that he's made. I feel confident that he can identify talent. Late, like day 3, maybe not so much, but I'm okay with him making the selection, and I'll be on board with whoever it is. I would say the only thing that would get me upset with whatever the quarterback pick is if we move a wild amount of picks to go up to number 1. If you move a wild amount of picks, like I don't want to give up 3 ones for a quarterback. Like that's just not something that's in the cards for me. Potential day 3 pick, Cole Payton, quarterback, NDSU. I don't think the Jets are going to risk their coaches' careers on a day 3 quarterback. I'd be pretty surprised. Mike says, I'm still high on Nussmeier, especially in the 4th. I don't think Nussmeier's making it that far. I think 2nd round is where he'll ultimately shake out. Because of the draft class, maybe there's a situation he gets into the back end of the 1st. Like maybe he wows people in the interview process or something. He had a down year for sure. He was someone that could have been a top guy. I don't see Muji and AG playing games with quarterback. We'll draft any one of the 3 if they are all in the draft and available to one of us. Yeah, I think they're gonna want a quarterback. It's just a matter of, are you moving a bunch of picks to go get him because you need to like secure your guy, or are you happy with all 3? I'd hate to trade up when Folk could have just missed the game-winning field goal. Yeah, I mean honestly, the field goal he hit versus the Falcons was a kick in the balls. The 2 kick return touchdowns versus the Browns was a kick in the balls. Like, it's cool, it's exciting, but we're just burning a great special teams unit on like a shit season. Really sucks. What position should we draft with the Colts pick? If we still have it, it depends what we do with the first pick. If we go quarterback, then I would lean receiver or linebacker at their pick. Sonny Styles would be my linebacker choice. Lemon, the receiver out of USC, would probably be my receiver choice at that spot, assuming Carnell Tate and Tyson Anderson. Tyson, what the hell's his name? Tyson. Why am I drawing a blank? Is it Anderson? It's not Anderson. Tyson. Jordan Tyson. Whew. Wow. Can you tell it's late? I'm all jacked up. So I would say receiver or linebacker would be my preference at that particular pick. T-Rez says Mateer in round 2. I think he's going to go back to school. I don't think he's coming out. If Miami somehow gets a quarterback and we don't, it's going to be rough in our division. Yeah, we're going to be in a rough spot. Allen is still plenty young, and Drake May looks legit for a very long time. Jonathan says no Mateer. I really like Mateer from like an attitude standpoint. His back half of his season, though, was not good. I think he should go back to school for a year. Kev says trade for Purdy or CJ Stroud instead of trading picks in a draft haul for number 1. I would absolutely poke around CJ Stroud. I don't think I would do it for Purdy. I'm not as high on Purdy as I am Stroud. I would say I'm leery as to why the Texans would move Stroud. I know he needs the contract. They'd have to be in a situation where they don't feel comfortable with him. And like, how much are you willing to give up? Is it 3 ones? Are you willing to give up 3 ones for CJ Stroud? Maybe if it's like a 1 each of the next 3 years, or it's 2 this year and 1, I don't know. I would say that's up for discussion. And I'm fine with that if they decide to make the move for the legitimate quarterback, because you're not wasting away the rookie years trying to figure it out. You're like immediately a contender. But you're also paying a very big contract to CJ Stroud. So I kind of want the guy that is ours, but at the same time I understand the value of getting someone that has already played in the NFL. So from like a personal standpoint, I want the rookie, but I could understand the decision. Muji going to Oregon, Indiana, and Alabama means absolutely nothing. All 3 teams have huge talent. Yeah, they do, but they also have some very major talent at the quarterback position, and I would be very surprised if the main reason they were at those games was if it wasn't because of the quarterback. And I think as a GM, knowing your team needs a quarterback, you should be doing your due diligence on the top guys, which would be those three schools anyway. And you're also seeing a ton of other talent regardless. Like, it's entirely possible that they like a bunch of other players at Oregon and maybe not so much more, but you're going to go out there and watch them either way. I don't think it's necessarily indicative. I feel like Oregon, the Jets have been to 4 games. I feel like I remember hearing that. And Mendoza, they went to 3. And I don't think that's necessarily indicative of liking one versus the other either. Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how it goes. I think the draft process will tell us a lot. I think the college football playoffs will tell us a lot. And just sort of see how these guys elevate and drop. I feel pretty confident Mendoza's QB1 though. I like Tua, but he's one hit away from meeting Dorothy and Toto and Oz. Yeah, I don't want to give him a big contract, but I'm fine with him on a vet min deal to maybe parlay that into his next big deal somewhere else. Troy says Brees can go sign a vet running back for half the price and say, Brees can go sign a vet running back for half the price and same production. I would like to franchise tag Brees. We're going to have $100 million in salary cap space, and I don't think there's going to be enough good free agents or difference makers out there that are worth a damn. So for me, 1 year at $14 million, you get the quarterback in the draft. Now maybe you sign Brees to a 3-year, $10 million a year deal, $12 million a year deal, whatever it is. And now you've got a guy that can really go the distance anytime. I like that. If he's like, hey, I'm franchise tag and that's it, I'm out the door, then I'm fine with the 1 year on the franchise tag because I think you owe it to whatever young quarterback you bring in to just have as many weapons as possible. And if that's Brees trying to ball out on a franchise tag, and then you can decide if you want to tag him a second time or just move off of him for a running back. Maybe you draft in the 4th round this year, or maybe you like Allen enough, like whatever. I think there's definitely value in bringing Brees back. Jonathan says, we don't need a Burrow or a Josh Allen. I'd be happy with a team like the 49ers or the Broncos. Yeah, I mean, I want someone that I feel like can give us steady top 15 quarterback play, and we always have an opportunity for the playoffs year in and year out. Like that's who I want. I don't need a top 5 quarterback, but someone that can get hot. Like Goff, to me, if you could tell me, hey, the quarterback you're going to go up for at number 1 is Jared Goff. Like that's who you're getting. I think that's enough to win a Super Bowl with. I 100% think that's the case. I would sign up for that quarterback, whoever that is. If we hire Jim Leonard as our DC, we should draft David Bailey. He's a beast, but he's a stand-up in a 3-4. I don't know who he is. I have not watched him, but that would be cool. Sure. We also have to prioritize pass rush in this draft, and in free agency, we get almost no pressure consistently. Yes, I agree. I think it's a multifaceted approach. I think it could be a situation where you go into free agency. Maybe you get like someone to replace Clemens. I think you roll with Will McDonald and JJ for 1 additional year, and then you're going to have 3 firsts next year. And I think you can probably get a really good edge rusher next year. Like, I'm kind of okay. I don't want the defense to be like piss poor, but like my focal point for this offseason is like, let's make sure the offense is ready to go. I think that looks like signing a guard, whether that's bringing back AVT. I think I'm out on Simpson right now. Just there's too many penalties, lots of like not thinking. He's going to be a lot cheaper, but for 1 year, maybe it's AVT plus a rookie to kind of figure that out. I think you look at, on the offense side, you need a wide receiver too. I think the draft is my preferred route for that. I don't really want to go free agency. And then outside of that, it's just depth. Like maybe you want a tight end, but that could be free agency or the draft. I'm good either way on that front. When you look at the defensive side of the ball, is there an edge rusher in free agency that you're crazy about? I think normally that draft pick wise is where you'd like to go. If I had to look at my top 4 picks, assuming we don't trade, it would be quarterback at 4. It would be linebacker or receiver with the next 2 picks. So whether you want to go receiver at the Colts pick or you want to go receiver at the top of the second round, whichever one, I would do that, and linebacker in the other. Sonny Styles is the guy that I'm kind of gravitating towards in the first round. And then in the second round, outside of those 2 positions, now, edge rusher, that's probably the latest you'd want to go edge rusher. There's not usually too many outside of the top 2 rounds. I would say edge rusher. I would say safety. I would say defensive tackle. You could maybe kick the tires on like a cornerback, maybe if you wanted to at that point, if value provided itself. Depends if you're giving up all the picks. Tank for Ty says Stroud ain't it. I like Stroud. It always depends on just what you're going to have to give up, really. Bama beats Indiana in the next round. If Alabama beats Indiana, Ty Simpson is going to go screaming up people's draft boards. He's had a few weird games. Didn't he have? He had the one game where they won like 50-0 and he had no touchdowns. I think it was 6 rushing touchdowns by other players on the team. And hopefully I want to see a lot of him showcased as opposed to like Alabama being showcased. Paul says, the worrying thing is I wanted to go all offense mainly in the draft, but we need at least half of a new defense. So with $100 million in salary cap space for our defense, I would like to go into free agency. I'd like to sign a D tackle, Anzalone at linebacker, and a safety. Not exactly sure who the D tackle or the safety is off the top of my head right now, but I would be looking at someone from the teams that Muji or Glenn have connections with. Or maybe our new DC has connections with someone else, whoever that winds up being, whether it's Chris Harris or not. And then I would go into the draft and I would plan to double dip at all of those. I would plan to take a receiver. I would plan to take a safety. I would plan to take a defensive tackle. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the top 4 picks, but those are positions I'm going to be keying in on for sure. If you want a D tackle, if you're looking for a pass rusher, probably got to go earlier. If you're looking for like a guy that's just going to stuff the run, maybe it's 4th, 5th, 6th round pick. That's just a big body. Jonathan, I see your comment in there. Anzalone's getting old. He is. He's 32 this year, I believe. But I'm only looking for a year or 2 out of him. Like, bring him in here. Let him kind of. If Glenn, was close to him, I think that's a fine addition for a year or 2, and then you move off of it. Boss Girl says Empaneza from the Bills is a free agent. Is he gonna want to come here, and how much is he gonna want? I feel like playing for the Jets, you definitely have to pay a Jets tax for that. Like, he may want to go to a good team. We'll see. With likely 2027 MLB lockout, do you think 2027 NFL top rookies get more endorsements to stay in school in 26? Lockout. Top rookies in 27. I mean, as opposed to coming out this year, is that what you're insinuating? Or guys in the 27 draft? I don't know if I'm understanding that correctly. I think guys are coming out. I don't think the NIL money is really going to matter for guys that are projected first-round picks. Bro, let's get Phillip Rivers. No. Mendoza's ceiling is Matt Ryan, which is cool. Honestly, if that was his ceiling, I'd take Matt Ryan all day. Should have won a Super Bowl. I really don't want Mendoza, but honestly, I feel like next year's class is going to be mid. I mean, there's plenty of times where we feel like draft classes are going to be really good and feel like draft classes are going to be really bad. And it's probably 50-50 when those comments are made. Like, we knew the Pickett year, that draft class was going to be pretty bad. We knew the Herbert, Burrow, Tua year, that was going to be a pretty good draft class. We knew the Daniels, May, Williams, Penix, McCarthy, Knicks draft was going to be a pretty good draft. Most people didn't expect him to go that high, like especially Penix, Knicks, and McCarthy. Those guys were considered back into the first, second round picks, and they all screamed up draft boards. So I do expect Simpson to go much higher than I think people are thinking right now. Are you insane? Joe fucking Burrow wants out of Cincinnati. I mean, I love Joe Burrow. If you told me Joe Burrow would give us 5 years, I'd move a bunch of picks to go get him. Like, sure, I'm on board. I think Burrow's a top 5 quarterback, but I don't think he's waiving his no trade clause to come to the Jets. I think more than likely he's going to go to the Rams. Maybe there's a situation where he goes to the Raiders. Maybe there's a situation where he goes to like Minnesota. Like there's some other things, or maybe he just fucking retires. Like there's no way I see him wanting to waive his no trade clause to come to the Jets. How do you pass on the guy who wants out and you have a ton of draft picks? Because I don't think he wants to be here. I don't think our offense is better than Cincinnati's. I don't think our defense is better than Cincinnati's. And if you trade all the picks and you have all the money tied up in him, you're not really solving that either. Like, to me, he's going to want to go elsewhere. I just made Ryan freeze. Yeah, oh, Kev, you had my brain melting for a second. I was like, I don't know what he just said. Let's see. Is it official? Did the Colts officially lose tonight? Not yet. Close. If they lose, they stay at the 18th pick. So regardless of what happens, they're stuck in that pick. Unless does it shift them? No, it can't shift them out. They'd be staying at 18 right now. Burrow would break his wrist signing our contract. Yeah, that feels about right. Colts lost, so that pick moves up. Right now, it's not reflecting a loss on Tankathon. So, but either way, a loss doesn't move the pick up. The loss stays at 18 because there's 3 teams with 8 losses. And the Colts have a very hard strength of schedule. So they are going to pick behind any team that has the same record with them. So I guess in theory, the highest we can move up. Let me look at this. They're 5-3-5 right now. Realistically, probably the highest you can get up to is like the 13 pick, maybe. Like if they can get to 9 losses, it depends obviously what happens with those other 2 teams. Like I don't know if Dallas is probably gonna beat the Giants. I don't know who they have next week. Baltimore's got to play the Steelers. Minnesota could keep losing. It will be somewhere in like the 15 to 18 range, realistically, with the Colts pick. The organization is not going to develop a young quarterback. This is ridiculous. Who wouldn't want to play for the historic New York Jets? A lot of players. We've had plenty of guys not want to go there. Wink should be the DC. I like Wink. I don't necessarily care who our DC is. I'll be honest right now. Jim Leonard, someone I wanted back in the day when he was still the coach at. Was it Wisconsin? Is that where he was? I had him in there as DC at one point. I think the Colts pick will end up number 12. I don't know if it can. I think the highest we can get to. Is 13 with the Colts pick, because their strength of schedule can't beat Miami, Atlanta, or the Chiefs. I don't think it can, at least. I guess maybe some stuff can happen. Brett Favre played with the Jets, and so did Boomer Esiason. Yeah, Kirk Cousins didn't want to come here, though. Peyton Manning didn't want to come here. Like there's definitely a lot of players that did not want to come to the Jets. Favre didn't necessarily want to come to the Jets. Strength of schedule is recalculated every week as well. Yeah, it is. But the so if you look at this down here, the teams that we need to win and lose, the final week of the season is all division rival games. So the ones that really impact the win-loss percentage, like if the Patriots lose, we get 2 net losses because of it. If the Bills lose, we get 2 net losses because of it. That gets factored out the last week for every team. But so the movement up and down would come down to the and actually, in this particular scenario, we would want. Let me look at this real quick. The AFC West stuff is important for us. The NFC East would be important to us. But so the Raiders. The below win loss is purely Jets Raiders related. If the Commanders were to win, how does this work? Yeah, that's just who we want to win. I don't know. It gets recalculated each week. The Jets and Giants had a swing of 0.009 this week, so there's definitely a scenario where the Jets are currently sitting 0.006 favorably to the Raiders. But I think if the Chiefs lose out, that means they give 1 win to the Raiders, but having those losses drops the Raiders' strength of schedule. And I'm looking across the board here. Like, I could see the Giants continue to lose. That's going to help the Raiders. The Chiefs could continue to lose. The Commanders could continue to lose. The Colts could continue to lose. The Titans could continue to lose. There's just a lot of teams there that I think it would flip the strength of schedule. And for us, like, I see the Patriots winning. I see the Bills winning. Dolphins probably not. Falcons probably coin flip. Everyone else, I don't know. But like Ravens, Steelers, like we played the Ravens and we played the Steelers. It's not really going to matter. One team wins, one team loses. It's a net even the end of the year. That's where I was going with this. So for like, let's say, I don't know offhand, but let's say the Commanders and the Eagles play the final week of the season. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. It's going to be a net neutral for the Raiders on that. Makes your brain kind of melt. Aaron Glenn loses his job if Jim Harbaugh. You're talking about John Harbaugh loses his job in Baltimore. If John Harbaugh becomes available, I would do whatever it takes to get him. The issue is I feel like a coach of his stature would want to take a year off, reassess, collect the money that he's owed, because he'll get paid like a head coach for however long his contract is, which I would imagine is probably beyond this year. And I think he then reevaluates for 2027 in a quarterback draft class that could be really good, that he may want to come in there. Or maybe he loves Mendoza or Moore or Simpson or whoever it is for the Jets. We've now gone through an additional season with Glenn. And then he comes out and he says, okay, I like the Jets quarterback. I like what they've done. I like the GM. I love that they have 3 first-round picks. Like, we're going to be a very attractive landing spot for a bunch of coaches in 2027. That's why I don't want to move our draft picks that year. I just don't see. I don't think John Harbaugh, if he gets fired, I don't think he commits this year in this hiring cycle. Imagine an offseason where Harbaugh's fired, hired with the Jets. Glenn is gone in a huge trade for Burrow. I mean, if Burrow wants to play for Harbaugh, yes, I'm on board. I don't see that as likely. If you could trade the Colts pick for a legit head coach, what head coach interests you? It's Harbaugh. Harbaugh would be the one. If that was something that you could do. I'd definitely consider it. I'm sure there's probably other guys out there, but Harbaugh's I've always liked John Harbaugh. Fair. We do seem kind of screwed on strength of schedule, but Colts strength of schedule would go down. their strength of schedule will go down, but it's not by much. Like their strength of schedule is so much better than the other teams in front of them right now that like maybe them and Tampa Bay can flip flop, and that could bump us up a little bit. But everyone else, like they have the hardest strength of schedule for any team outside of Tennessee. Tennessee and Arizona have much higher strength of schedules, and they're way higher up the board. Rivers just threw a bad pick 6. Man, I haven't watched any of this game. I should have just had it going the whole time. He's been out of the league for 5 years. It is what it is. Brother, imagine being fired from a job and still coaching cashing multi-fat $1 million paychecks. That's a dream. Yeah, yep. That's why Cliff Kingsbury is not going to be a head coach for a little bit. He's going to sit and work with Daniels, and then he'll make his jump when he's not making the head coaching money anymore, and he wants to select whichever quarterback he wants to go with. And I think that's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be next year. I think it's going to be the year after. I think the 2027 class is what he would be waiting for. We should we have picked Shador? I didn't want him then. I don't want him now. I think his media prowess has gotten better, but I think it's just more drama than I would want to deal with. I want someone like Mendoza, like someone who's just like all about football and like very like blah. Like I don't want the off the field stuff. As far as I know, Simpson and Mendoza and Moore are all, not that way. Like it's the same way I wouldn't feel comfortable drafting Diego Pavia either from Vanderbilt. Andrew, what's good, dude? I believe in AG. We have to give him and the staff more time to turn this dumpster fire around. No one could turn this team around in 1 year. I think we definitely give him 2 years. I think we definitely do. You were describing Ty Simpson, my guy. Yeah, I think honestly all three of them, from what I've seen, they're all pretty similar in the sense of like being all about ball and like not off the field stuff. There's usually not too much off the field stuff. Like maybe you consider Caleb Williams as like a little flashy, like, I don't know, like different, if that makes sense. Like not your run of the mill kind of quarterback. I didn't feel the same way with Daniels. I didn't feel like that with May. I guess most quarterbacks at the top end of the draft have been filtered out by now. John Harbaugh, very possible. I've been hearing rumors of Kingsbury floating around head coaching candidate again. Harbaugh's replacement. I mean, maybe Kingsbury. I could definitely see him going wherever he wants. Like I would imagine if he wants to coach, he will be the top option. John Harbaugh, probably maybe higher than Cliff just because of the historic longevity of his career would make a lot of sense. Muji tags and trades Brees or extends him. I'm fine with either, but I would prefer a tag and keep. And then if it doesn't look like you can work out a deal with Brees during the season, I would trade him mid-season if he doesn't want to be here. But I would plan to franchise tag him. What's the lowest the Colts pick could end up? So if they lose 3 games, that gets them to 8 and 9. There are currently 3 teams: Miami at 10, Atlanta at 11, or the Rams at 11, and the Chiefs at 12 that have 9 losses already. Those teams I do think are going to continue to lose games. So I don't think we'll get into the top 12. I honestly don't think Dallas, Baltimore, Minnesota, Tampa Bay. I think Detroit could still sneak in. I don't know what their playoff chances are, but those teams feel like they could lose. I think we're going to be sitting somewhere in the 15 to 18 range because of strength of schedule. Strength of schedule is really going to be what screws us over. We're going to need Detroit to win a game to move up 1 pick. And then we're going to need Tampa. We would need Tampa, Baltimore. Tampa, Baltimore or Minnesota to win 2 games, which I don't feel confident in either, any of those really going. So let's call it pick 16, 17 is probably where that's going to end up. Colts are going to lose out. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to get that high. All teams with 6 wins have a low strength of schedule. Colts play the Texans and the Jaguars. All 7-win teams could win 2 games. Detroit needs to win 1. 14 is the highest the picks Colts can be. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And you would need Baltimore, Minnesota, Tampa, and Detroit to all win at least 1 game. When you say 2 years, you're not including this year, right? Because I don't know how you can critique this year considering it was an evaluation year. I do. I think this year you could evaluate Glenn. I think he's going to need a quarterback. And I think if he doesn't perform, or at least look like he's trending in the correct direction, like if we have a 6-win season next year and the quarterback looks like we're hitting and the defense is playing better and it's like how it looks is going to matter. I think there's a situation where Glenn stays on with a bad record next year if everything looks good. If the team looks like they're uncompetitive in certain games, then I think the Jets will absolutely pull the plug on Glenn. I don't think you risk drafting a quarterback so early and then giving that same head coach 3 more first-round picks when that is the most attractive your team is going to look with a young quarterback in place and 3 first-round picks. Like that to me is when you would pull the trigger on a new head coach. What are my thoughts on Kayvon Thibodeau? Giants will likely let him hit free agency. Had 1 double-digit sack season. I think he would be very affordable pickup with upside. And he wouldn't have to move. Like there's some benefit to him coming over here. I didn't want the Jets to draft him that year. I would be all right with a free agent move. I don't know what his value is going to be. Let's see if Spot Track has that. Thibodeau. Then I have to learn how to spell his name all the time. They have his market value at $20 million a year. So 4 years, $80 million. I don't know. I'd probably have to watch more of him. What's he done this year? 3 sacks this year. 4. Damn. I don't think I want to give up that much money for him. I guess it's not crazy. That's kind of the going rate for edge rushers now. I think I'd rather roll with Will McDonald and JJ and then draft someone and hope they're going to be better than Thibodeau, than pay the $20 million. Yeah, it looks like 16 to 18. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking for the Colts pick. No one held anything against Manziel, but with Shador, it's a problem. I don't like that double standard. I mean, a lot of people held shit against Manziel. There's a reason he went, what did he go, 20th? Or was it maybe mid-teens? He was electric. He was absolutely wild in college. But they definitely held that to him. And then he got booted like real fast. Like he was out of the league, I think, in 2 or 3 years. I think with Shador, a lot of his baggage comes with being Deion's son and some of the arrogance, which I think has already put off, like people were put off by Manziel anyway. Like it or not, I do think Deion probably played some factor in this as well. Like it's like, do we really want like a Lamar Ball kind of situation going on? I would say no. It's official. The Colts lost. Let me hit the refresh, see what their strength of schedule changes to be. So their strength of schedule got harder. It went from 0.535 to 0.537, which obviously makes sense because they lost and the division, the opponent they played got a better record. So they dropped a little bit. McDaniel is a terrible head coach. Gruden was bad in Las Vegas before his firing. I don't know if I'm missing something here. I don't know if we were talking about that. I like McDaniel personally. I'm a little surprised they're holding on to him. I thought they would clean house. I don't remember Gruden in Vegas much. His drafting with Mayock was not very good. I remember Cleveland Farrell being a pick and just being like, what are you doing? Manziel was incredible in college. He was messed up though. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen any of his 30 for, I don't know if he has a 30 for 30. He did some type of interview where it was like, wow, this guy's like super jacked up. This is not great. Manziel had known issues with partying and substances. Yes. Which I don't think Shedeur has any of that stuff. But people definitely did not want to put up with Manziel. I agree, Kevin. Manziel is why teams treated Shedeur the way they did. I think it's more the noise surrounding him than anything like off the field. Like Manziel was very much off the field. Like he didn't feel like he was focused. I don't think that's the same way with Shedeur. I just think Shedeur is full of himself, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just think you got to back it up. I'd be shocked if Kayvon got 20 million a year, but Kinlaw got 15, so who knows? Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't realize 20 million was what he'd be getting. I don't know. 25 years old, just turned 25. I'd be open to it. I don't really want to spend 20 million on him though, because I ideally in my mind, Will McDonald or Jermaine Johnson kind of earn that. See. All right, gang. I'm shot. We were at the. Did I do this for 2 hours? Is that how long I was going for? Where's my? Damn, 2 hours 15 minutes. All right. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. I'm gonna be back here tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock with Matt talking Jets. JETS.